Welcome to the Black to Business Podcast, an educational podcast providing Black entrepreneurs with the tools and resources to start and grow their businesses. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall. So I want to start this week's episode off with asking a question. Are you living your best life? So when you sit back and think of your goals, can you truly say that you're at your best, that you're doing your best, and that you're living for you? Or do you find yourself with a gut feeling that maybe things in life you're doing are because of what others think you should? Or maybe you're too afraid to promote or launch that new thing because of what others may think, afraid to make that next move. Or maybe you're in a current living situation, financial situation, or career where you know that you aren't being fair to yourself. And I get it, we're human, and sometimes we deal with fear, self-doubt, and all of those things. But how do we push past it? So this week, we're discussing how to live your best life with internationally recognized financial services CEO and motivational success teacher, Malcolm Harris. He's been featured on Oprah Winfrey, USA Today, Black Enterprise, Huffington Post, and Ebony Magazine. And I'm a huge fan of Malcolm because of the great content that he pumps out. He's the ultimate motivator to help you get out of the funk. So I invited him on the show because he's helped me in my own entrepreneurial journey. During this episode, we discuss how to live a limitless life and what that means, how you feel about yourself reflects your circumstances, and overcoming mental blocks and fear, and how do you build self-confidence in your business. So you're definitely in for a treat. Let's get into it. So Malcolm, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited that we can finally do this, and I'm excited for all great content that we prepare. So welcome to the Black to Business Podcast.
Thank you. It's a real honor to be here. It really is.
Thank you. So Malcolm, for the people who don't yet know you, my listeners, if you could just talk a little bit about your story, how you got where you are today, and what is it that you do in your business?
Sure. So my name is Malcolm MJ Harris, and every single listener can look me up at MJ Harris Speaks. That's MJ Harris Speaks. That's my social media handle, and you'll be able to learn a lot more about me. But essentially, my story is that I hold a very distinct title that I love holding, which is that I am the CEO and founder of National Care, which happens to be one of America's largest African-American owned financial services companies. We focus on insurance and retirement planning. As of today, we have a little over 1,100 team members, and we started the business at my dining room table. And we was basically me and my inner voice inside of me telling me to run with this idea, and it has since grown significantly. In addition to that, I am a motivational success teacher. So I do a lot of motivational speaking around topics from everything from building your confidence to sales training to anything that can help both business owners as well as just individuals who are interested in building wealth. How I help them to to change their mindset so they can be positioned to achieve the level of success that they desire. And I also teach them very tactile skills on how to accomplish it. You know, it's not enough for me just for you to be saying, "Amen, MJ, I love what you're saying." Right. I need you to know how to run out and do it after you get finished watching one of my videos. Unfortunately, my videos are seen by over 3 million people every single week all around the globe. So we've done very, very well. Been featured by Oprah, USA Today, countless other publications. And it's so crazy because I started this path literally while working a full-time job that I absolutely hated it. Yeah. And I decided I was going to go ahead and do this. And so I started my insurance agency at my dining room table. I would do it at nights and weekends and things of that nature, but I pressed hard. And now it is my full-time focus, and it's able to be a platform that is helping folks all over the U.S., mostly African-American, to be able to achieve and create wealth for themselves as members of my team as well as clients of our firm.
Oh my God, that was so amazing. And it just gets me so excited. I watch your videos and you make me so excited. So I know our audience is in for a treat, which is why I wanted to have you on the show to talk about, I feel like you embody this thing about living your best life. And you kind of talked about how you allow others or prompt others to live a life of confidence, but also sales training, which is something that, you know, a lot of people are intimidated by. So for you, Malcolm, what does it mean to live your best life, and how do you feel that this affects entrepreneurship specifically?
So, when I think about living my best life comes down to a life that has no limitations. I always say I have to live limitlessly. So that means that I am able to spend my time however I want. If I need to go to a doctor, if I want to go to the Bahamas, the idea of having to check with an employer to ask them, can I take time off? That's not living my best life. And I'm not poo-pooing on anyone who lives like that. What I am saying is that there's another way. And if you don't desire to live like that, you can live differently. Living my best life comes down to never having to have a day where I have to be confronted with the thought of saying I can't afford something. If I have a desire within my heart, living my best life means that I have the funds to be able to go out and acquire whatever that desire is. Beyond that, living my best life means having the time freedom to be able to do the things I want to do and spend time with the people that I love. None of our days are guaranteed. And when I think about it, I don't want to just see my family members on nights, weekends, and holidays. I want to be able to spend time with them whenever I desire to. And living my best life means all of that. And so for me, the underlying thread within living my best life is wealth and is financial abundance, right? When people talk about building wealth and building abundance, the way I grew up in the church, and I was taught as a child that, don't be greedy. It's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get in heaven. And it almost vilified the desire for abundance. And as I've gotten older and become much more astute to the realities of the world, one thing I've become astute to is that the people who often taught us that, frankly, just were intimidated by wealth because they didn't know how to accomplish it for themselves. So what they did was they vilified it, and made it out to be something that was bad. And what I realized is that the wealth is a vehicle that can allow you to be anything that you desire to be. If you want to be a terrible person, then you can be a terrible person with money. If you want to be a good person, you can be a good person with money. For me personally, living my best life directly ties into wealth building because having financial resources in abundance allows me to be able to do those things that I mentioned earlier in a full way. I can't live my best life while having limited finances. So that's what I think about when I think about living my best life.
I love that. You can't live your best life without having limited finances. And that comes into play. I definitely know that you grew up in the church. So now when it comes to,
I
can tell it. I can tell it. We was going there. We were going to the first pew. So I want to also touch on, we spoke a little bit about how you've been able to accomplish these things, and you were working at a job that you hated. So what was that transition like for you to know that this was, this vision that you had would mean better for your life?
So the transition for me was actually a rocky one. Let me tell you. I was scared because can you believe this? In my first 6 months selling insurance, because I got an insurance license. My grandmother's been in the industry since 1981. She said, get an insurance license as a way to earn some extra money. The plan was not for me to start a massive insurance agency. The plan was for me to earn some extra money so that I could maybe save up enough money and maybe open a little restaurant. I think at the time I wanted to open a Subway restaurant because I heard that they were cheap to open and they generally perform well. So I said, I'm going to save up a little money, be very practical. Well, made $600 my first 6 months selling insurance. In my 6th month, I got access to some really good sales training, and I made $10,109 that month, and I've never seen a month less than that since. And so for me, I was already making good money from insurance because in my day job, I think when I first got into insurance, my income was something like $96,000, which is a good day job. That's not bad. And it went up and up, but nonetheless, I'm making good money over here. Well, insurance was kicking my day jobs behind in terms of income. And can you believe that I stayed in my day job for 2 more years before I finally left there to focus on my insurance business full time? I used to work myself silly. I would go to work in the mornings go to my day job from 9 a.m. Sometimes I leave in the afternoon so that I could go work with insurance clients, but I didn't tell them where I was going. But nonetheless, that's another story. And so then I would leave my day job in the afternoon, essentially, and then go to my office and sell insurance till 9 o'clock at night. Was working 7 days a week half the time. Well, I say most of the time, really. I was working myself silly. And so the transition came from me because my mother and my brother both said, your business is already doing well with insurance, but it is not going to take off. My brother said this one. He says, until you burn the boat. And I said, what does burn the boat mean? He says, until you make it so that you have no way of turning back, because that job is your boat and you need to burn the boat. He says, if you don't burn the boat, you'll never give it your full energy. And then my mother complimented that advice by saying, and when you burn the boat, that activates your faith so that God, if you rather believe in God, or if you just want to say the universe, I don't care what you refer to, we're all talking about the same thing, but so that God can step in and give you the full bounty of what's waiting on you. You're not walking in faith right now. And so for me, that's how my transition started, really, was getting that advice from them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then finally, I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And then when I left my full-time job, literally within about 2 weeks, I got a big client. I got my first big client, big client. This is the biggest client I'd ever gotten to date. And I think my commission on that came out to maybe $30,000, which was much higher than I would get on any one individual client. You know, an individual client, I may have been at that point been making $2,000, $3,000 on each client, which is nice, but a $30,000 one. And so to me, it was just proof to me that when you're willing to set the foundation in place and then step out on faith, you really will be rewarded, whether you believe it's faith, law of attraction, whatever you call it. Just know that that power that's bigger than you and I is waiting to give you everything that you desire and deserve. But you've got to be willing to step out on faith.
Definitely. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think one of the things that you mentioned was that, you know, at first you were scared, but look at the success that came out of that. So do you feel like, you know, when it comes to living our lives and going after our passion, how do you think that the way that someone feels about themselves plays into this?
Oh, it is everything about it. I mean, it comes down, it's every part of it. Here's the reality. I want you to think about your life. And all the listeners think about this as well. Think about the current state of your life, the state of your relationships, how you allow people to treat you, the state of your finances, the state of your health, the state of how you feel about yourself. All of that comes down to how you feel and think about yourself, right? How you're living today is a direct byproduct of how you feel and think about yourself. What allows one person to achieve extraordinary success and have extraordinary relationships and maintain their health is not luck or favor. And it's certainly not that they have more than 24 hours in the day. They've got the same amount of hours in the day that you and I both have. The reason why they're able to live a life that you like and that you yourself desire is because they believe that they deserve that life. Here's the thing I'll tell you. Within our lives, we will always, always, always go after creating the life that reflects what we believe that we deserve, even in negative ways. Have you ever seen someone where they believe such negative things about themselves that even when good things come along, they somehow or another find a way to self-sabotage that good thing out of their life? They say, ooh, I want a partner who's going to treat me fabulous, who's just going to treat me great and love me, who's going to give me attention. And they get that partner, and that person calls them every day, checks on them, good morning, text, all that other good stuff. And next thing you know, they saying, girl, he doing too much. I don't know about all that. It's just too much for me. You know, they find a way to sabotage it. It's no different in business. An opportunity comes up for them to expand and grow, but maybe they got to go and take some classes or go to school to do it. Oh, I don't know about that. That's just too much. I don't have the time to do it. They sabotage it, you know? And so what I know to be true is that our level of accomplishment within our lives is a direct byproduct of what we believe that we deserve. And what we believe that we deserve out of life is a direct byproduct of how we feel and think about ourselves. The better we feel about ourselves, the higher the expectations are that we place on what we believe that we deserve in life.
Oh, that was good. I'm over here trying to write as fast as you talk. I'm like, oh, that is good. That is so good. And I think it's not rocket science. And, you know, life is simple. So I think you kind of touched on the fact that, like, what are some of the mistakes that you see people make when it comes to dealing with those fear and mental blocks that they have when they set those goals. And Malcolm, I think that you're the perfect definition of someone who has, you know, achieved a great wealth of things. Were there any times where you failed and how did you bounce back from that?
Oh, countless. I think National Care when I started National Care, I think it was my 7th business, I want to say. All the ones beforehand had failed. I've failed constantly. I've failed. I've had more failed businesses than I've had successful businesses. The reason why I kept getting back up is because I didn't believe. Frankly, I just had to tell myself, well, what other choice is there? Do you not keep trying? Do you go sit in a job that you hate I know we don't like to use the word hate too often, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. I hated it. Getting up every morning to drive around the Beltway. The Beltway is the highway that goes around D.C. Getting to drive around the Beltway to go to work, sit with other folks who are mad and don't want to be there all day, and then just living for Friday. Friday come, oh, that's great. Saturday come, oh, fabulous. Then Sunday come, and you're resenting the fact that Monday's tomorrow. The only thing that used to get me through my Sundays was looking forward to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then I'd be right back. Yes, I love my Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then I would be sitting up here like, oh, here comes Monday again. And then you do that week after week. Oh, well, maybe there's a vacation coming or a holiday coming, or, ooh, maybe a 3-day weekend. I didn't want to live like that, you know? And so for me, what allowed me to keep pushing past my failures was by asking myself, what is the alternative? Because if I don't push past my failures and try again, then I am essentially accepting a life of mediocrity. I'm essentially accepting that the life that I'm living, that I'm not satisfied with, is going to be the life that I'm going to be stuck in and I'm going to have to stay in because I'm not doing anything to get out of it. Here's the thing. If you want to change your life, then you've got to embrace that failure is a reality that you may face. But failure, frankly, is a gift, because failure is something that you can only experience if you're working to change your life. The only people who don't experience failure are people who are sitting in mundane mediocrity. Those are the only people who don't experience failure. If you're experiencing failure, then you're in the game. That's the price of admission. And the beautiful thing about failure is that it teaches you how to do it better and better next time. The reason why let me tell you this. I'm a beast when it comes to business. I'm just going to put it out there, all right? Well, Kobe can do it at basketball. I know how to do it at business, all right? I am good at business, all right? I know how to make money. I can do it in my sleep, okay? And the reason that I know how to make money and that I do it so consistently, good economy, bad economy, I don't care about what they're saying about the economy. I got the MJ economy, and it's always good, all right? And the reason I can do that is because I've been through so many business failures, and all those failures have taught me how to be a better executive, how to be a better financial manager, how to be a better marketer. So what people see today is not the byproduct of luck. It's the byproduct of a bunch of failures that have taught me who I am. I couldn't be who I am today without the failures. So when I look back, I'm like, oh, thank God for all those failures, because it taught me everything I knew. And they were free. I didn't have to go to college to get those failures.
Definitely.
Or to get those lessons, I should say.
Right. Mm-hmm. And, the thing is, now I want to talk about the action steps that people who are not yet, in that mindset, but they're trying to get there. What are some of the action steps that they could, take when it comes to practicing living out the dreams and the goals? Touching on, for example, goal setting, comparison, jealousy, and you touched on even friendships and relationships.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that one of the first steps that anybody can take is to first acknowledge that you desire to have a life that's bigger than the one that you're already in, and don't limit that. Sometimes we can sabotage ourselves out of even dreaming. We've all know what that feels like, where we say, "Oh, I would desire to live this way," but then somewhere in the back of our mind, that little voice says, oh, but who am I to even want a life like that? Or I would love to live like this, but no, that's not realistic for somebody like me with my background. Or I live like this, but I don't have the right amount of education, or whatever it may be. We sabotage and talk ourselves out of things. So what I'm saying is give yourself the opportunity to dream without limits, almost like when you were a child and you used to daydream without any limitations within your mind around what was realistic or unrealistic. Don't think about realism and what's realistic and not realistic. Those are limiters. They don't help you in any way, shape, or form. You have to let yourself dream and understand that if you can create it in your mind, then you can create it within your life. And even if you can only create half of what's in your mind, if you let yourself dream big, then even that half is better than you would have gotten if you didn't dream at all. And so that's the first thing, is allow yourself to dream on a regular, reoccurring basis. Another thing that I recommend to anybody who's working to change their life is do things that's going to inspire you to dream even bigger. I remember when I didn't have a dime to my name, I used to go to the jewelry stores. I go to Cartier and all these other fabulous stores. I like jewelry. And I go in these stores and I would just try them on. Let's try them on. They don't know what you have in your pocket. And I would try them on. Right. Because I said, I'm going to be able to afford it one day. So I'm going to come in here and look. I would go look at beautiful homes. I would do all these things that would inspire me to dream big. And I'd do it by myself. Because I said, if I can't find somebody to go with me who's going to support it, I don't want anybody going with me talking about, oh, well, why are you doing this? This don't make no sense. This way. You know what I say about naysayers and devil's advocates? I don't have no space for them in my life. And so I would go do it on my own. You have to inspire yourself to dream big and allow yourself to do it, to dream big, because once you allow yourself to dream big without any limitations in your mind, then what happens is somehow or another, you then begin to attract to yourself opportunities to walk out those dreams. And it's not that they're magically coming to you. It's that opportunities are all around us, but our vision is only able to see at the level of our thinking, right? So I picture like this. When you get a different kind of car, it's amazing how you may not have ever really noticed these kinds of cars on the road. But then the minute you get that type of car or a car with that specific color, you seem to see a bunch of cars that seem to look just like your car everywhere. Like, hey, why? I never noticed so many cars just like this one all over the place. The reality is that because now it's in your consciousness, you're now able to see it around you, all over the place. It's the same when it comes to dreaming. When you allow yourself to dream big, you are raising your vibration and raising your level of consciousness so that you can then begin to see the opportunities around you that can allow you to walk it into manifestation. A lot of people say opportunity is not around me. And it's like, no. Opportunity is all around you. You're just not operating at a high enough vibration because you're too limited in your thinking, so you can't see what's around you.
That's true. And what about the fact that comparison to other, because social media and all of these things, you talked a little bit about the circle. So what does that effect have on it?
So I think comparison definitely can affect you. But, I have a video I put out the other day where I said, don't get jealous, get to work, and what I'm talking about is this. Comparison is fine if you see what someone else has as motivation to go accomplish it, for yourself. If you like the way somebody's living or the way they're portraying living on social media, and that's how you want to live in reality, then by all means, work to go create it. Sitting up here and envying them and being jealous of them and picking them apart, or for that matter, tearing yourself down because of how they're living is not productive. I truly do believe this, that life gives us opportunities to see what we like and see what we desire. And the negative way of viewing it or responding to it is jealousy and envy and self-destructive thinking. The positive way to see it is to be able to say, that's for me. That's what I'm going to go after. So when I'm driving around and when I'm seeing things I like, I say, ooh, I like that. That's for me. I'm going to go after it. I don't think, ooh, I wish I could have that. Oh, I wish my life was so good. Why tear myself down? If it exists, why can't I have it too? That's not the last Rolls Royce they're going to make. That's not the last bag they're going to make. That's not the last trip to whatever exotic location that they have. They got plenty of them. They're in abundance. So why can't I be one of those people to go get it? So what do I need to do to position myself? So when I see those things around me, I view it literally as God reminding me that it's possible for me to have it. It's just a reminder of it so that I can then go out and do it for myself.
Love it. And I think, where do you feel like you got this mindset, and how can others, are there any rituals that you do, tools that you do, or resources that keep you going?
So I will say who helped me with starting this mindset is definitely my mom and my grandmother. My grandmother is a person where she would go to all the motivational seminars, Les Brown, all those folks. And I would hear the tapes in the car. She used to be cassette tapes back then. And I listened to them in the car with her. I didn't really know what they were talking about, but I knew these people viewed life in a limitless way. And I said, well, I'd rather view life like them than viewing life like the folks that I heard from other places in my life, from the pulpit, who were telling me my limitations and what I couldn't be. And nothing against the teachings I heard from the pulpit, because many of them helped make me into a great person. But there were many teachings that I taught that I heard that were very limiting in terms of who I could become. And so when I heard the Les Browns and even T.D. Jakes, who I love T.D. Jakes, I heard all their teachings and I said, oh my God, I want to think like these people. So that kind of started it for me. But I'll tell you, reading different books like Think and Grow Rich helped me out. That's a fabulous book, Think and Grow Rich. Another book called The Power of Positive Thinking. That helped me out to kind of get on this path. I'll tell you what helps me out the most is surrounding myself with people who think like me. My friends have all different levels of income. I have friends who may make hourly wages working in retail. I may have friends who are nurses. I have friends who are executives and own massive companies. we are in alignment, not because we all make the same amount of money. We are in alignment because we see ourselves as unlimited, right? Limitless. That's how we see ourselves. And so for me, the biggest contributor to me being as positive as I am is me surrounding myself with people who think like me, and me being, get this, completely unapologetic about not giving my time to people who don't think like me. If you on that negative Nancy stuff, if you on that naysaying stuff, I'm not putting myself around you for what? It is not my job to do. If you want some of my good positive energy, then pay to come to one of my events, all right? Because that's where I'm giving my positive energy. But I am not here to build up somebody who's not designed to be built up. My friendships have got to be bilateral. You got to be pouring into me just like I'm pouring into you, you see? And because I need that, and we all need that. So you have to make a conscious choice around surrounding yourself with people who think like what you think like, and who are trying to create the same life that you're trying to create too, because you all will feed into each other.
Love that. I love it. And I think, so many people don't take that seriously, and how that has an effect on you and where you're going. So I think you're touching on that. It's very important. So you've been able to do quite a lot of successful things. Like you mentioned, you've been featured on Oprah, Huffington Post, Ebony Magazine, Black Enterprise, and now you have National Care Financial Group. And being in the industry of sales, how have you been able to grow, and the influence in your mission and goal with, the future, Malcolm?
So let me tell you this. One thing I know to be true is within all these businesses that I've started, and like I said, majority of them didn't work out so well. One of the underlying things that cannot be denied is that sales and the ability to sell, when I say sell, meaning the ability to influence people's thought processes in order to see value in the products and services that you are offering, right? That ability is priceless, because if you cannot sell, you are not in business. And selling is not just the person. People often think of sales as like, the car salesman or the person trying to get you to buy something on the spot. No. Sales is the ability to simply influence people. And that ability has literally been what's built my business. When I built my business, no one taught me how to be a CEO. No one taught me. There was not a guidebook around that. There was no guidebook around how do you build out this department or build out that department. These are things I had to learn. And in some cases, I had to hire consultants to help me with those things and so on. And some of those lessons I'm still learning. But the thing that allowed me to survive good times as well as challenging times is my ability to sell. Because if you can sell, then you can bring in money. And as long as you can bring in money for your business, then your business has got a lifeline. The money is the breath that goes through your business that allows it to live. And so for me, that sales has been so huge for me. And for it is almost indescribable, just the level of importance that knowing how to sell has had within building my life into what it is today.
You know what? That made me think of something. I think that, you mentioned like selling, and it's not just, the car salesman, but it's also about, you have a very powerful brand. And one of the things that you do well and, fearlessly is self-promotion. So how do you do that? And also, how did you get to a level where you were comfortable with telling people what you do and, that was making money for your business?
Well, I wasn't very comfortable with it at first. I recorded my first video probably, almost a decade ago, just under 10 years ago. Wow. Most people have not seen those videos. At some point, we'll show some of them, but they were not very good back then. And so I was scared to self-promote. I was scared because I was like, what are people going to think if I'm self-promoting? Are they going to think I'm being tacky or this and that and the other? And then one day it occurred to me, and it came from a top seller. This is a multi-million-dollar seller. And he said to me, he says, who cares what people think if they don't like the fact that you are selling? Those people are not your audience. So they will eliminate themselves. If they don't like what you're offering and they don't believe that it adds value to their life, then they will not follow you, or they will stop listening to you, or they will stop answering your calls. That's good because it frees up space for the people who do want what you're offering. And so with that mindset, I said, well, shoot. Let me go on and do it. And so what you see today with me when it comes to self-promotion is it really comes down to that. It's me understanding that I'm not just offering you saying, hey, buy this widget that does nothing of value. I offer financial services that help people build wealth and protect their families. I offer training like sales training and wealth building training, which helps people to change their life and earn more money and build wealth for themselves. I offer things that are very valuable. I am dropping gold for people, helping them to change their life. And so with that said, I'm doing a disservice to them and I'm doing a disservice to myself. And frankly, I'm doing a disservice to the gift that's within me to hide it and hold it to myself simply because I'm worried about a couple of detractors who would never meant to be in my audience anyway. And so for me, that's how I view it. I see what I'm offering as valuable because I wouldn't offer it if it wasn't valuable. And so because I see what I'm offering is valuable, I use whatever opportunities are provided for me or whatever options I create for myself to share that with people so that they can make a determination if it's valuable for them or not. If it's not for them, then fine. They're not going to buy it. Well, they'll stop following me. That's on them. But there are millions of people out here who do need it. And I have to focus on those people more, not focus on the people who may not see what I do as valuable.
Yes. And I love that you mentioned, caring about what other people think. It's a disservice to those people who are really interested in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And those people will never probably support you. I think that is very much key. And that resonated a lot with me as well. So thank you for that.
And let me share this with you. For anybody who's ever worried about, what if everyone doesn't support me if I promote myself? Or what if people reject me? What I want you to remember is if you could only get 1%, so just 1% of the entire world to be in your corner at any point in time, just 1%, if only 1% of the world liked what you had to offer, do you not know that would still be over 70 million people? 70 million people. 70 million people. So my thing is this, who cares if 9 out of 10 people don't like what you got to offer? 70 million more do. So that's what you need, and so that I always remind myself of that. You don't need everybody to build wealth. You don't need everybody to sell out whatever product or service you're selling. You just need that 1% that's going to be your tribe and be in your corner. I call it my amen crew. Because if they're in your corner, baby, you're going to live good.
I love that amen crew. I might have to use that one. Mm-hmm. Yes. So Malcolm, if I wanted to, work with you, what would that look like, for the people in the audience, they want more, or how can they contact you? How can, you help them?
Sure. So if you would like to, join my team of financial services professionals, as I mentioned, we focus on insurance. We got over 1,100 team members nationwide. You can join, and you don't even have to have an insurance license to join because we show you how to get licensed when you join the company. So this is for folks who want to earn extra income on the side, who may want a full-time income. If I look at my books, we're looking over the leadership board. Last month, the highest earning person did about $71,000. The 30th person on the list did $6,800 that month. And these are folks, some of them are part-time in this. And so nonetheless, if that's your desire, then you can go to www.joinnationalcare.com. That's joinnationalcare.com. And there's a video there that explains to you what we do. You make a determination for yourself if it feels like a fit for you. If it is a fit for you, then go ahead and click the link to sign up. If it's not a fit for you, then go ahead and send that link to someone who it may benefit. If you say, you know what, I'm not necessarily interested in coming into the insurance industry, but I would love to simply learn from you, then what I encourage you to do is to go to my page, www.watchmjharris. That's watchmjharris.com. I've got all my videos there, thousands of them throughout the various platforms. Now, here's the thing. For your listeners, I do have a free gift. Because I do know that sales is one of the most important things that you could ever learn. What I did was I looked at my entire sales process. And within my sales process, there is a specific part of how I sell that absolutely allows me to close every single time. Every single time I'm able to close because of that. I always say this, if I don't close you, it's because you don't have the financial capacity. You set up a meeting with me and you didn't have the money. And so now we're here to do what we need to do and you ain't got the money. And that's fine. That's fine. People do it all the time. They come and kick the tires and they don't have the money to buy it. But that's fine. But if you sit with me and you have the financial capacity and you need what I'm offering, you're going to buy it from me. So what I did was I took the most important part of my sales process and put it into a free lesson, free, no gimmicks, no nothing about it. It's free. Just click the link and you'll be able to go to it. The way you access it is MJ Harris free gift. MJHarrisFreeGift.com. That's MJHarrisFreeGift.com. You'll be able to get it right then and there. Enjoy it. And I always say enjoy it in good health and prosperity because it's going to help you.
Definitely. And I'll be sure to put that in the show notes so that people can
so much.
Click the link. Of course. And before we wrap up, I have to say for a little fire round, based on all that you've done, what advice would you give your 23-year-old self?
To accept that you are already enough. That would be the advice. Because the reality is that there's an abundance of resources and an abundance of lessons all around us. I wouldn't give my 23-year-old self any wealth building advice, any business advice, because the reality is that when you don't accept that you're enough, and at 23, I did not accept that I was enough. I had a very low self-esteem, made poor relationship choices, poor job choices, just poor choices overall. And I thought I was making good choices, but they were poor choices because they didn't reflect me living at my full potential. Right. And so the reason why I would give myself that advice of you is that you are enough already is because by accepting that, I would have done what I talked about earlier in this call. That would have raised my level of expectation that I had out of life. And I would have been able to walk around and say, you know what, I deserve more because I know that I'm already enough. I don't have nothing to prove to nobody. My past means nothing. The only thing that matters is who I decide to be today and for my future. So that would be the advice that I would give to my 23-year-old self. And rather you're listening, you're 23, 33, or 73. That's a lesson that you should take in today. Take it and do not delay taking it. If you remember nothing else that I said today, remember that lesson that you are already enough. Your past doesn't matter. Your current circumstances doesn't matter. Nothing about your life matters outside of who you decide that you want to become. And when you lock into that, lock into the fact that you can make yourself into anything that you desire, and that you are enough already as you are, then that literally will set the stage for you to then begin creating the life that you desire and most importantly, that you deserve to live.
Yes. Let's say it. I am enough. I'm enough.
I am enough.
I love it. I love it. And Malcolm, what do you want to be known for?
I want to literally be known for helping people live limitless lives, living lives where they feel like if they can look back when they're on their last day, if they could look back on it, they can say, you know what, I did that thing. I did. I earned great money. I had time to spend with my children. I maintained my health in a beautiful way. I lived an unlimited life. I let nothing hold me back. That's what I want to be known for, that I was a beacon of light that came to you in the darkest of nights and showed you how to live a limitless life.
Yes, that was so beautiful. Malcolm, thank you so much for spreading, your knowledge, your word, because I know I took a lot from it and I'm sure others are going to take a lot from it. And I think we're living in this time where we have to continuously remember to live and do what's best for us. So thank you for being on the show and coming. Was there anything I missed? Any last words?
You were absolutely fabulous and you covered so much. It was absolutely wonderful. I say, whoever's listening to this, because sometimes as I'm talking, I'm thinking to myself, I want to make sure that if I was listening to this and I didn't know anything about this person, will we get it all in? And as an interviewer, you are spectacular. You ask all the questions across the gamut. And I think whoever listens to this is going to be able to walk away from this interview feeling better about themselves and with more knowledge than what they came in with.
Thank you. And there you have it, guys.